What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is Baby Driver. Baby Driver is a crime action film that was written and directed by Edgar Wright, who is primarily known for his directorial work on the Cornetto trilogy, which includes Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. Okay, so Baby Driver takes place in modern day and primarily follows a young hotshot getaway driver named Baby. Baby, a young man who constantly listens to music to drown out the ringing in his ears, works with a group of criminals who specializes in bank robberies. And after pulling off multiple getaways via his insane driving skills, Baby eventually decides he wants out and he wants to start a new life somewhere else with his love interest Deborah, who he met at a local diner. However, his business associates don't want to let Baby walk away so easily because he's so great at his job. So the rest of the film is spent watching Baby begrudgingly be awesome at his job as a getaway driver who listens to music to match the occasion, but we also watch Baby fall in love with Deborah and attempt to start a new life somewhere else. Okay, so Baby Driver was certainly a movie that I was looking forward to, not because of the trailer, which was just kind of so-so for me, but because Edgar Wright was directing it. I love Shaun of the Dead and I loved Hot Fuzz, and I thought that Edgar Wright could do no wrong with a cast this great. And in reality, he doesn't. This is a very good movie that I liked a lot. I didn't quite love it to the level that I was hoping to, but I still had a really good time with this one overall. It's exciting, it's very witty, it's super well acted, and it's got a ton of style and originality, which is something that a lot of films seem to be lacking this time of year. Baby Driver is a crime action film first and foremost, so most of the excitement comes from the various getaway scenes that Baby and his associates find themselves in, and those chase scenes are really cool. You get a handful of them and they are just awesome to watch play out on the big screen. Baby is basically a magician behind the wheel, and some of the stunts they pull off in this film are so incredibly well done that you can't help but be impressed. The action also is made that much more exciting because of the awesome soundtrack. There's a sort of Guardians-esque soundtrack put to use here that includes music from artists like Barry White, Queen, the Commodores, and a bunch of other great musicians that really spice up this film quite a bit. And not just in the action, considering Baby has earbuds in for like 90% of this movie, Edgar Wright does a really great job of giving you insight into Baby's methodology and how he goes about choosing the right song for the right occasion. Just keep in mind though that this film almost feels like a music video in a lot of spots because there's a high number of scenes that contain heavy amounts of music, and I mean heavy. Like the characters will be conversing with one another and Baby will be listening to music the entire time, or you'll have a series of montages where Baby will be singing and dancing along. It's actually really cool to watch because it's super well choreographed and edited, but it's not going to be for everyone, honestly. I also gotta say that this cast is spectacular from top to bottom. There's not one weak link in this entire movie. The primary crew you spend the biggest chunk of the movie with includes Ansel Elgort, who I hadn't heard of before this movie, who leads the way with a fun, charismatic, and likable performance as Baby. Jamie Foxx as Leon, the psychotic lunatic, who was maybe my favorite character in this movie. Jon Hamm as Jason, the serious tough guy, and Eiza Gonzalez as Monica, the jokester of the group. These four were absolutely fantastic in their roles, and I have to say that from an acting perspective, this is certainly one of the better, most unified performances I've seen in 2017 thus far. Kevin Spacey is also in this film as Doc, the kingpin of this operation, and he is great as he always is. Also, Lily James as Deborah, Baby's love interest, is incredibly likable and delivers a great performance as well. She also looks a lot like Daisy Ridley, which is cool too. More generally though, I think that Edgar Wright did a fantastic job directing this film. There's such a clear vision and a clear understanding of who these characters are and what makes them individuals. You're given just enough information about these characters to give them an identity and a glimpse into their mindset that differs from the rest. And when you combine these pretty well written characters with super cleverly written dialogue and awesome action scenes, you've got a winner. This is not a film a lesser director could have pulled off. However, there are some problems I have with Baby Driver. Firstly, I feel that after the opening scene of the film that really hooks you with how exciting and fun it is, the rest of the first act really takes a bit of a dip in quality. I think that while Ansel Elgort is good as Baby Driver, the film struggles when it relies too heavily on him to carry the load. What partially makes Baby Driver a really good film is the combination of all the great performances along the way, but when it relies too heavily on one character, it struggles. It performs much better when the burden is spread out across multiple characters. Also, there are certain parts of the film where characters make somewhat inconsistent decisions, inconsistent with what has been established about them up to that point. I get that sometimes people and characters in film have changes of heart, but there's something about the way these characters make their decisions that feels a little too convenient. It occasionally feels a little forced in order to make the pieces fit and the story head head in the direction that Edgar Wright envisioned it. And while I'm not sure Edgar Wright wanted to relay a heightened sense of realism in this film, there's just some things that happen that really ask you to suspend your disbelief incredibly high. This is more problematic in Baby Driver than it is in like Shaun of the Dead, because the premise of those films are very different from one another. Baby Driver seems to be centered in reality, and there's several instances where the crew or a single member does something so ridiculous and outrageous and somehow escapes the grasp of law enforcement. It just seems too ridiculous for its own good sometimes. But overall, Baby Driver is a really fun time. It's a film with a lot to like about it, albeit with a few flaws as well. I thought it had some awesome action scenes, an amazing and stylistic soundtrack, some great acting and dialogue, and some lively and energetic characters. However, I also felt that the first act lacked the necessary punch, characters' decisions are at times inconsistent, and the suspension of disbelief is outrageously high in certain scenes. Regardless, I'm going to give Baby Driver an 8.5 out of 10 and recommend you check this one out at theaters if you're looking for a fun, stylistic, and energetic crime film. So did you guys see Baby Driver yet? What did you think of it? And if not, let me know why not. And also let me know your favorite Edgar Wright film to date. Mine's probably Shaun of the Dead. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next video.